Psychology says if a girl does this during conversation, she likes you. Here's the truth: women show interest in subtle, psychologically driven ways they don't consciously control. These aren't cliches, these are instinctive, hardwired cues rooted in evolutionary biology and emotional risk. Most men miss them. High-value men decode them and leverage them. If you think attraction is just about saying the right thing, you're playing the wrong game. These subconscious female triggers reveal what she's really feeling, even if she tries to hide it. Learn them, and you won't just guess if she likes you, you'll know when she over-explains minor details. When a woman starts justifying something trivial, why she was late, who she texted, what she wore. It's not logic, it's emotional displacement. Her subconscious is signaling anxiety over your perception. This is a form of impression management driven by your perceived status. Use this: stay calm, unreactive, let her explain. The more you allow space, the more she reveals her internal investment in your judgment. That's attraction hiding behind rationalization. And when you sit with presence, when you give no reactive energy, she feels your emotional gravity, and that stillness only deepens her pull toward you. This behavior often goes unnoticed because it appears conversational, but it's a deep signal of emotional investment in your opinion. A high-value man understands that silence isn't absence, it's pressure, and pressure reveals depth. And when you hold that frame, when you let her fill the space with more emotional content, she begins to sense something she rarely finds: emotional discernment, and that makes you unforgettable too. She challenges your statements without rejecting them. If she pushes back but stays engaged, says really, or I don't know about that, she's not disagreeing, she's testing strength. This is a dominance filter. Evolution trained women to test for confidence under social pressure. Hold frame, don't rush to convince. Deliver your opinion like it doesn't need agreement. That grounded certainty flips her challenge into trust. She doesn't need to control the frame because you already do, and in that calm certainty, she feels emotionally safe, not because you agreed, but because you didn't collapse under pressure. That's when her testing turns into trust, and her trust turns into attraction, and more than that, it turns into emotional surrender, because her nervous system is wired to respond to grounded certainty, not dominance, but anchored masculinity, the kind that doesn't need to overpower, but simply holds its center. 3. She creates emotional contrast mid-conversation. If her tone shifts from playful to serious or sarcastic to sincere, she's not unstable, she's escalating intimacy. Through contrast, the human brain registers emotional variance as depth. This triggers dopamine the same way plot twists hook an audience. Don't react with confusion, match her depth, then pivot. Controlled unpredictability signals emotional fluency that's rare in men and magnetic to her instincts, because unpredictability in this context isn't chaos, it's artistry, emotional presence with texture, a kind of masculine jazz that stirs her nervous system and makes you unforgettable. This kind of emotional rhythm is what pulls her in, because it signals a man who isn't reactive to waves, but knows how to surf them, a man who doesn't just communicate with logic, but with layers of presence that she feels in her body before her mind can explain it. For she downplays her attractiveness around you. If she says, I look terrible today, or ugh, I'm a mess, don't correct her. That's not insecurity, that's a bait pattern. She's lowering perceived value to test how you respond. Without pedestal behavior, most men rush to validate. High-value men observe, smile slightly, say nothing, or counterplay with a bold tease. This flips her frame. She now sees you as the one with the power to define status, and when you don't chase that bait, she feels both challenged and respected, because your value doesn't hinge on making her feel good, it reflects your self-certainty, and that subtle reversal is what makes her lean in harder. It's not arrogance, it's awareness, knowing when to speak and when to hold, knowing when to lean in and when to let her feel the tension of your presence. And in that silence, she hears everything: your confidence, your restraint, your quiet power. 5. She indirectly asks about your future when she floats comments like, would you ever move? Or do you want kids someday? It's not idle curiosity. This is long game. Scanning her subconscious is evaluating resource stability, direction, and whether you're rooted in masculine purpose. Don't answer like a job interview, speak from vision. A man with direction pulls feminine energy into orbit. She's not looking for certainty, she's testing for belief in self. And when you speak with clarity about where you're going, she doesn't just see a man, she sees a journey and begins to imagine herself on it. That's where attraction moves beyond chemistry into emotional investment. This is when a woman begins to soften, not because you promised her anything, but because she senses a man who is already in. Motion and motion rooted in vision is what magnetizes the feminine. 6. She mirrors your pacing, then breaks it. This isn't casual mimicry, it's behavioral syncing followed by a strategic disruptor. She might lean in fast, then suddenly go quiet. That drop triggers emotional loss aversion. It makes your attention feel scarce, and scarcity creates value. Most men chase the retraction. Don't hold posture. Let her rescind to you. Women instinctively respect the man who doesn't break rhythm for validation. And in that unshaken rhythm, she finds stability, and in that stability, she unconsciously decides you are emotionally dominant, not because you forced it, but because you embodied it. And in that embodiment, you speak a language that is felt more than heard. The silent leadership of emotional control, and that control creates the emotional safety that allows her to feel without fear. 7. She uses insider language. Suddenly, if she starts referencing an inside joke, a phrase you used earlier, or calls you by a playful nickname, she's claiming psychological territory. That's pair bond behavior. Her brain is anchoring you in memory. This is imprinting through association. Acknowledge it. Subtly repeat the language. Reinforce the us dynamic without labeling it. That quiet mutual code builds emotional exclusivity without needing overt declarations. And the more that private world between you two grows, the deeper her bond gets, because women fall not through facts, but through shared emotional language. She begins to speak only you understand, and in that shared language a world is built, a private sanctuary that makes her feel not just chosen, but understood, and to be understood is the deepest form of intimacy. 8. She breaks eye contact when it gets emotional, not during flirting, but when the topic gets vulnerable. If she looks away when you say something deep, that's not disinterest, it's emotional overload. Her nervous system is processing impact. Stay present, don't soften the moment. That temporary disconnection signals real internal movement. Most men feel the silence, don't? It's in that quiet tension that bonds form, and in those silent spaces between words she feels your depth, not just as a man, but as a mirror she can trust with her truth. And that's the seed of long-term emotional intimacy, because the men who can sit in silence without fear are the men who can hold the storm of her soul without needing to fix or flee. 9. She compares you to fictional characters. If she says you remind me of, followed by a movie or book character, it's a projection. Her subconscious is mapping your energy onto a known archetype. This isn't a compliment, it's a desire. Reveal. Listen closely. She's telling you the frame she sees you, and own it. Amplify it. That alignment creates narrative momentum where she's already cast herself as your supporting role, and once you're a character in her inner story, she doesn't just like you, she dreams of you, and that dream carries more emotional weight than anything logic could ever explain, because women don't fall in love with data, they fall in love with story, and when you become part of her story, you bypass resistance and enter the realm of imagination, and once you're in her imagination, you're halfway to her heart. 10. She interrupts herself when talking about other men. If she casually mentions a guy, then stumbles, backtracks, or changes the subject, she's not confused, she's managing perceived threat. Her subconscious is calibrating how you'll respond to competition. Don't flinch, don't ask questions, just stay calm, amused, and disengaged. That emotional neutrality proves you're not threatened, and nothing is more attractive than a man who cannot be shaken, because the moment you reveal you're not battling for position, you're signaling you've already won, and that kind of emotional certainty is rare, magnetic, and unforgettable, because it tells her you are the prize. You don't chase, you choose. And when a man chooses from abundance, she feels the difference not in what he says, but in what he doesn't react to. And here's the deeper truth: the psychology of attraction isn't about tricks or tactics, it's about decoding the emotional frequencies women communicate, and it's about reading between the words, feeling the shifts in energy, understanding that female attraction is not verbal, it's visceral. And the man who learns to move through conversations like he's fluent in emotional subtext never has to wonder if she likes him, because he sees it, feels it, knows it without needing confirmation. He becomes the man who doesn't just date women, he awakens them, who doesn't just talk, he resonates, who doesn't just chase attention, but draws it through quiet certainty, grounded presence, and emotional fluency. If you're done overanalyzing and ready to move with intent, subscribe to our YouTube channel and join the men who command attention.